Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are going to talk about Section 13 to Section 29 of Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005. Section 13 specifies that the notice of hearing should be given to the protection officer to serve on the respondent within 2 days, and that the official should file a declaration for the service of the notice. Section 14 talks about counseling. It states that the magistrate may direct either party to undergo counseling. Whereas Section 15 clarifies that the magistrate may use the service of welfare expert, preferably a female, to assist him or her. As per Section 16, it specifies that the proceeding may be held in the camera. Section 17 of Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act recognizes a woman's right to reside in the shared household. This means that she cannot be thrown out of such household except through the procedure established by law. In cases where she is thrown out, she can be brought back again after obtaining an order from the court. The court can also direct an alternative accommodation in cases where she does not want to return to the violent home. Section 18 is a protection order. So this can also be termed as a stop violence order. Through this order, the court can direct the other party to immediately stop the act of violence. The following incidents can be prevented through the protection officer. First, preventing the violator from entering the woman's place of employment and causing harassment. Second, preventing any communication with the woman from the violator. Third, preventing any violence being caused to the person related to the woman. Fourthly, preventing any financial action from being taken by the violator to harm the woman. Section 19 talks about residence order. A residence order may be passed by the court in cases where the woman apprehends being thrown out of the shared household, or in cases where she has been thrown out and wants to return to her house. The aim of this order is to ensure that the women have a shelter that is safe. So in cases where a woman does not feel safe living with the violator, then she can apply for the order seeking his removal from the shared household. The court can also direct the violator to provide alternative accommodation for the woman. No order for removal from the shared household can be obtained against the female relative under the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act. Section 20 of the Act talks about monetary relief. So this order can be sought to meet any expenses that the woman may incur as a result of violence faced. So it could be payment of medical bills, any loss of belongings, etc. A married woman or a woman living in a nature of marriage can also claim maintenance from husband or male partner. The amount claimed under this provision is to take care of actual expenses incurred by a woman. Section 21 of the Act talks about custody order. A woman can also seek for a temporary custody order for her children. This is to prevent the woman from being separated from her children, which itself is a form of emotional abuse and blackmail. This order is temporary in nature and does not affect the right under existing law on the custody and guardianship. Section 22 of the Act talks about compensation order. A compensation order can be asked for by the woman for the injuries sustain, such as mental and physical. This is over and above the actual expenditure that can be obtained by the monetary order. Section 23 is interim or ex parte order. So an interim order can be given by the court at the time the proceedings are initiated under the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act and before a final order is passed. This is to ensure that women are not detrimentally affected during the course of the legal proceeding. In order to get the interim order, a woman has to show that she has or she's facing a violence or fear violence. An ex parte order means an order that is passed in the absence of the other party to the dispute. So such order are interim in nature and passed only if there is an immediate danger to the person making the application, or when the other party refuses to appear in the court despite prior intimation given by the court. So as per section 24, a copy of order is to be provided free of cost to the person in whose favor it is passed. Section 25 of the Act states that the aggrieved person may file for the discharge of protection office order if she feels that it is no longer needed. Either of the party can also file an application to the magistrate for alternation, modification, or revocation of any order made if there is a change in circumstances. Section 26 says that if an aggrieved person is involved in litigation that affect her right as well as the rights of the respondent, then an application for relief under the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act can be filed in such pending proceeding. It is advisable for the protection officer to ascertain whether or not the aggrieved person is involved in any litigation and file the application in the court where the prior litigation is ongoing. It provides the relief mentioned in section 20 may also be sought in any legal proceeding before civil court, family court, or criminal court. Section 27 provides that an application under Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act can be filed before either a judicial magistrate of first class or metropolitan magistrate in urban areas within whose local limits any of the following situation arise. So the first is the aggrieved person reside either permanently or temporarily or carries on the business or is employed. The respondent resides or carries on business or is employed. The cause of action has arisen. Section 28 states the enforcement procedure under section 125 of Code of Criminal Procedure and can be used. As per section 25, it talks about appeal. So either party can appeal against the order passed by the court to a higher court within 30 days from the date on which they receive the official information of the order. Thank you. That's it for today.